All right, everyone, I'm going to do the second half of the practice exam now. Questions 21 through 40. Okay. Let's pick this up. All right. Oh. Question 21. The classical dichotomy argues that changes in the money supply. Well, the classical dichotomy is looking at it holds in the long run. So here, the only thing that changes is like the price level, nominal variables. Real variables won't be affected. So this is going to be C. All right. It's going to affect nominal variables, but not real variables. Okay. The velocity of money is, well, this is just D. This is just the average number of times per year a dollar is spent. Not each dollar, how many times are spent on average, because some people won't use their dollars at all. They'll be, they'll have them, stuffed in their mattress. They won't even be used. But on average, if you take into account all the other dollar bills or money that's being used, it's going to change hands, this given amount of time that's known as velocity. 23. According to the assumptions of the quantity theory of money, if the money supply decreases by 7%, what does this mean? Money supply is going to decrease by 7%. So what's going to happen to, the nominal and real GDP? Well, PY is nominal GDP. And so this whole side's got to decrease by 7% to be true. But also, there's nothing given here that's going to affect income. We're saying that this is not going to be affected here. When we're looking at the quantity theory of money, unless we say so, like, it's not going to impact actual income. So the real GDP hasn't changed, which is why. But what did change was the price level went down 7%, and that causes nominal GDP to drop by 7%. So it's going to be B. 24. Suppose the economy is a long-run equilibrium. If the government decreases expenditures, eventually the decrease in aggregate demand causes price expectations to what? All right, so let's draw this out. There's a price level. Here's our income in the economy. Here's our short-run aggregate supply we're starting off with. Here's our aggregate demand we're starting off with. And there's our long-run aggregate supply. So we're starting off in long-run equilibrium, but government decreases expenditures. Well, that causes aggregate demand to fall. So aggregate demand falls, which means price falls. And output falls. Now, if left on its own, the economy will adjust and move back towards this natural rate of output. So what happens? Well, the labor market's really loose. There's a bunch of people looking for a job, there's not enough jobs because unemployment's increased. This is going to cause wages to fall. And also the cost of inputs for production will fall as well. So both of those things will cause price expectations to fall. And it'll cause the short-run aggregate supply to slowly increase. And so what happens is the price level falls even further, but output returns back to the natural rate. So that's going to be 24C. Price level falls. This leads to the short-run aggregate supply curve shifting to the right or increasing. Okay. 26. All right. So this is looking at different types of expectations. So Justin's really cheap and his relationship does not last very long usually. Brian and Robert like to wager on how long his newest relationship will last. Christmas is a few weeks away. In the past, he's always dumped the girl he's dating. However, he's told Brian and Robert there's really strong feelings for Rebecca. He swears it has nothing to do with their parents being rich. Brian wagers that Justin will still break up before Christmas. That is what he's always does. Robert wagers they will stay together past Christmas because he's never heard Justin talk this way about the person he's dating. What term best describes Brian's process for his prediction? How about Robert? Well, he's just basing it on what's happened in the past. So that's adaptive expectations. Whereas Robert's taking into account, well, he's really taking all the information. Well, the way Justin's really not taught this way about anybody before. So that would be considered rational expectations. Okay. Now, myopic, the other type of expectations, what that means, you basically essentially same as guessing. Everything's random. Well, he could stay with, he could not. Just flip a coin, and that'll determine who's going to stay or not. But so 26 there is A. Which of these is not an argument used against an active stabilization policy? Well, that's going to be adaptive expectations. Rational expectations can sometimes hinder any kind of effectiveness of monetary policy. It's like, well, the Fed's like, I'm going to increase the money supply, lower rates. Well, everybody takes that into account, and then okay, well, I'm going to demand higher wages, right? And firms like, okay, I'm going to charge more for my goods that I produce here. And if they did that, and they could potentially offset the effectiveness of monetary supply. Right? But these other things are, arguments: the inside lag, the outside lag, how long it takes to react, issues with forecasting. Those all could impact and hinder, make active stabilization policy not as effective. 28. Surprisingly, in regards to the coronavirus shock, the government was rather quick in this regard. The time it took to recognize it, they were really fast on that aspect. They were pretty quick on, actually passing the policy and implementing it. But there was a little bit of it took on a couple of things like implementing it completely. There were some holdups, they ran out of money and stuff like that. But overall, it was really good. But the time they recognized it was really quick because partially they caused it because when they shut down parts of the economy, and then they knew that even if they didn't shut these parts down, like the ones that remained open, like with the service sector, people weren't going to shop as much. They weren't going to get out much to open to run other people. So they knew there was going to be this huge negative demand shock, and that unemployment was going to rise really greatly. All right, which of the following interventions during the COVID pandemic acts like a tax cut? Well, this is the stimulus checks. All right. Essentially what they're saying is like, hey, we're cutting your taxes, but we're going to go ahead and give you that money now. All right, we're going to give you that tax rebate now here in advance. Is essentially what they were doing here. So it acts like a tax cut. It gives you more disposable income to increase consumption. 30. Most economists agree that it's good to have rules to bind central banks. Which of the following is an example of a monetary policy rule? So Friedman's K% rule for money supply growth. The K would be like 2, 3, 4%. Okay. Nobody uses that anymore. So there's a central bank digital currency that was mentioned used in the Marshall Islands, but they still haven't implemented it yet. It was going to be set at 4% growth. Okay, but that is like a potential rule. The Federal Reserve's 2% inflation target, that's another rule. Nominal GDP target, where you set, okay, nominal GDP should grow by like 4 or 5% per year, and you should hit that. Okay, so all three of these are types of rules. All right, so it's going to be D. According to the money supply diagram, an increase in real income leads to what? A decrease in money demand, a decrease in the quantity demanded of money, or an increase in money demand. It's going to be an increase in money demand. Okay, it's going to shift the whole curve. It's going to cause a complete increase in demand. That's because as people's real income rises, they're going to spend more money. They're going to purchase more goods, and because of that, they need more money in their checking account, or they can actually turn around and buy it. They need to be more liquid, have more money available. Okay, so that's C. All right, 32. If P equals 4, Y equals 250. Well, this is another, I don't know why I gave 2 of these. We'll do this one anyway. Practice don't hurt. The P times Y here is 4 times 250. So it equals 1,000. So these MV combinations need to equal that. They need to equal 1,000. So what was A? 500 and V equals 6. So it's 500 times 6 equals 3,000. So it's not A. What about B? 200 times 5, 1,000. So it could be B. So see, yeah, B is one of the answers. That may not be it, though. There could be more than one. M equals 700. V equals 2. So that's 1,400. So it's not C. What about D? 500 times 2 equals 1,000. All right, so it could be B or D, either one of those. All right. So I said, so in the question, choose all it's possible. So you have 2 here. So it could be more than one on that. All right, 33. The cost associated with the firm changing the price of the goods is known as, well, this is the menu cost. All right. You know, they call that because, like, if you have a menu, you have to change the menu, the prices on it, it's costly to do that. It could be like changing the stickers on the price of the good, or going in and changing on the website that you're advertising your goods, going in and changing on that. Like, it could be many different ways you change the prices, but there's always a cost associated with that. And that's known as a menu cost. Okay, and as inflation increases, well, prices are going to change more often. So this will increase the cost associated with this for firms. You know, they got to change prices more often. This increases their menu costs, which cuts into their profits. And so, like I said, that was B. So let's erase this. Okay, so 34 here. So there's one good in the economy, wine. There's enough labor, capital, land to produce 3,000 barrels of wine a day. So output's 3,000. Money supply is 10,000. And price at first is $100 a barrel. All right. The first thing we want to do here is find velocity. Velocity is Py divided by M. So P times Y is 100 times 3,000. M is 10,000. So that's 300,000 divided by 10,000 equals 30. All right. So we want to find the price level if the Fed increases money supply by 8%. All right. So we know the new money supply is 10,000 times 1.08. Velocity we said was 30, so that's MV. And then E equal to P times Y. So the price of what we're trying to find, Y, is going to stay 3,000. Okay. And so we know the price level let's see. There we go. Price level is going to be 324,000. That's 30 times 10,000 times 1.8 divided by 3,000. And so what that'll give you is a price level of $108. Okay. So now we can find inflation. So it's 108 minus 100 divided by 100 times 100 to put in percent form. So it's just 8 divided by 100 times 100. These will cancel out. So that gives you 8%. All right, what is that? That's actually B. Okay, so 35 here, everything's the same, except now instead of just the money supply changing, also outputs changed. Right? There's an increase in output from 3,000 to 3,100. There's a new strain of grapes that allows production to be more more productive. It allows production to increase. Let's erase this. All right. Now we want to find the price now. Now we know money supply and velocity aren't going to be any different from the previous problems. But now Y is going to be a little bit different. It's going to increase. And you expect, because of that, well, the price level is going to go down. It's not going to be quite as high because there's more wine being produced here. And so it'll cause the price level to decrease. And so this gives you 104.51, right? Which is less than the 108. So let's see what inflation is. 104.51 minus 100 divided by 100 times 100 was 4.51 divided by 100 times 100. Those cancel out. So it's going to give you 4.51%. And one of the options is 4.7. For some reason, I must have miscalculated the first time I did it. But anyway, so that's going to be C. Okay. All right. Now, these remaining questions are like from the chapter on growth. A reasonable measure of the standard of living in the country is, well, that's going to be real income per person. This tells you, okay, how much spending power does each person have? Like they actually income they produce here. So this gives you a really good idea, like how their standard of living, like how much purchase power they have from their income they make. Nominal income per person, you don't know because you don't know what the price level in the economy is. Real income, well, that's just looking at the economy as a whole. You really know what the population is and what it is per person. And the last one, the growth rate of nominal income per person, well, it would not be that. Well, that can give you a good idea if the economy's if the people are getting richer or poor, but it doesn't really say anything about the current state of the economy. 37, when a nation has very little income per person, well, it's not doomed to be poor forever or anything like that. It actually has the potential to catch up really quickly. Because once you start increasing the capital and you start educating people, they become a lot more productive and they can produce a lot more goods and they can actually catch up fairly quickly. Okay. They can grow really fast. And you see what happened in China. They started making a lot of investments in capital, taking advantage of the technologies that are out there, and they grew really fast. Okay. They're starting to slow down now. That's what you expect, though. Their growth rate of the economy, it's going to slow down, kind of equalize more to like what we have, around 2%, 3%. 38, for a given level of technology, we should expect an increase in labor productivity within a nation when there's an increase in each of the following except what? So human capital per worker, that'll cause an increase in labor productivity. More education or skills you have, more productive. Labor, that one won't. The more labor you have for a given amount of technology, and for a given amount of capital, that'll actually decrease productivity, right? It'll kind of diffuse the capital that you have and make people less productive. Right? Whereas C, physical capital worker, that increases it. Natural resources also. Okay, that's going to be B. Labor, increase in labor lowers productivity per worker. Copper is an example of a non-renewable resource. Okay, it doesn't, it's not renewable like wind or water or something like that. It's a non-renewable resource. 40, our last problem. Madeline goes to college and reads many books while at school. Her education increases which of the following factors of production? Well, it's going to be human capital. Right? So this is going to, increase her ability to read, kind of understand things. This is going to make her a more productive worker. So it's going to increase the human capital, A. Okay. I hope this was helpful.